Today we are doing a review for Nas's King's Disease 3. We did check it out when it dropped. We did a first reaction video for that. This is Nas's 15th studio album and apparently his final installment of the King's Disease trilogy. Hit Boy, who's a prominent producer slash rapper, plays a huge role in the trilogy along with Magic, which was an album by Nas that dropped last year, December. The 17th track is a bonus track. But I absolutely loved and enjoyed the album.
For me, it really solidified them two as being one of the greatest hip-hop producer rapper duos like ever. I think we've had enough of a sample size now to determine that they have something special here together.
Absolutely special.
Yeah, one of the things I love about it, we're speaking about this album KD3 for this review, but it's really an extension of their work together recently. And one thing I love is how Hit Boy has Nas in these different bags when it comes to flow and cadence, especially.
First track, bro, Ghetto Reporter. What did you think of it?
Ghetto Reporter was dope, man. The Richard Pryor sample is iconic. It's a brash intro. It's Nas showing that he's very much aware of the magnitude of this 4-album run, not just as it pertains to hip-hop and how it impacts the state of hip-hop, but even more so on an individual level. He knows it's something that the listener gotta cherish. Like, you gotta,
cherish this.
Really take this in, like what I'm doing right now. He says that. And Hit Boy's right there with him. The piano on this joint goes crazy. And I love the monologue that he gives right before the second verse. He goes, King's Disease, most of us catch it at one point or another, but evolve, find a new formula, one that takes everything in you to make. And as he's giving you this, you realize that this is what he's done. He's found another formula, a way to elevate his status as one of the greats when you never, like, who would imagine that Nas would find another way to elevate himself?
Step up.
It's really impressive, and from the first track, you get that.
You mentioned Richard Pryor. Along with Richard Pryor was Alan Watts. He actually starts off the entire track and telling you to close your eyes, and it almost seems like, yo, get ready for what's about to happen and not just in the track, but for the entire project. He mentions the Magic, the album Magic. He mentions KD1, he mentions KD2, and then he also says that KD3, almost like foreshadowing, this is better than all those. And so that got you excited to hear what's next. And then we got to legit. This one was one of my favorites as well, bro. The beat, the verses, the hooks, and that order as well. Everything that brought him to the point of where he's at right now, and him not believing that he made it there. And to hear him just say that out and him reminiscing about past things in his past days is just dope, bro.
I love the sample, the movie, the 5 Heartbeats, to add that soulful sample to it, which is dope because that's something that Nas had previously mentioned in the track prior. And yeah, like you said, Nas just reflecting on how far he's made it. It's a dope thing to see one of the greats take that time out to just reflect on the journey. And then Thun, energy. The energy on this one. Love the Jay-Z call out, no beef or rivals. They're playing Ether on Tidal. Sometimes I call them up like, this shit ain't over.
This ain't over.
It's just dope. I loved it when he talked about the beat breaking and then the train on the tracks and then the sound of the break of the train came in that actually broke the beat. Just real layered song making for real between both the producer and the artist. This one was dope. It only had one verse, but it was a strong verse, and it held up the song along with the production. You
mentioned the tracks, the sample of the breaks, and sometimes it's the little things that add to the track that make it one of your favorites. Thun was easily one of my favorites off of first listen, off of second, third, fourth, fifth. Every time I heard the album, I couldn't stop. There was times where I ran it back instead of going to the 4th track. If you know the history behind Nas and Jay-Z, as soon as you heard Hova's name mentioned, as soon as you heard Jay-Z, like, wait, what you about to say about Jay-Z? So that really caught my attention. And then we get into Michael and Quincy. I love the first verse, the beat switch. I love the Michael Jackson references. He mentioned the girls. He mentioned some of the names of his songs, some of the names of his albums. And it was dope, bro.
The comparison of Nas and Hit Boy to Michael and Quincy was really accurate, and especially in the moment on this track with the the first tracks you got up until this point to really get you in that mode, like, yo, these two are working on a crazy level together. And then you get this one that really confirms it, like, yeah, it's really like that. I have here in my notes Hit Boy with like 10 exclamation points, because Hit Boy is just, the record scratches, the beat switches, just insane on every level. It was dope. Yeah, love that one. Michael and Quincy was fire.
And then we get into 30, kind of like a sequel or a follow-up to 27 Summers, which was on King's Disease 1, the first installment. And in this track, I feel like he was just flexing, bro. Not just about materialistic things, but also his longevity in the game. It reminded me of what 21 Savage said about how Nas isn't relevant. And when I heard this track again, I went back to listen to this track and I'm like, damn, bro, can't believe he said that.
This was the only beat on the entire project that I wasn't crazy about. I love how Nas started it. First lines: a divine creature ran through dimes, divas, turned blocks to beaches. Like, just real arrogant, real like just that talk, that talk straight out the gate. He said the premiere album might still happen. That was dope to hear. He called out Pete Rock because Pete Rock had a little issue with him because he produced The World Is Yours. He felt like he was owed royalties for that. So he was like, I don't know what's going on with Pete Rock. So that was interesting that he little jab there, nothing crazy.
And so then we get to number 6, Hood to Hood. What did you think of that one, bro?
Hood to Hood was dope. Nas is really saying how his music translates to any neighborhood because of not just his skill but his authenticity. Like, you could listen to Nas and just see that it's coming from a real place, and that's gonna resonate with people regardless of where they come from. Like, there's no lines drawn. It's a feel good song. Even it has some serious lines there, like where he's talking about serious issues. But even through all that, it's really a feel good song. Man said OJ with the memorabilia had to steal it back. Talking about the flow, and then this is where I said Nas getting in his bag with different flows and cadences. The part where he said, "Stop that, my guy, you are not that, my guy." That flow section was crazy.
The instrumental was completely different from what you heard in the 5 tracks. It was very upbeat and very bouncy as well. He also talks about, inspiring the black community to work together. He's a legend and a lot of people follow him. And so saying that would get a whole lot of more people understanding, like, yo, maybe I need to smarten up. Maybe we need to work together. But yeah, next track was Recession Proof. The beat on this one was a nice blend of that old school boom bap and the new school melodies on the keys. It was one of the tracks that I didn't listen to as much as the other ones.
In the intro, Nas goes Superman or Superfly, and in the beat, it felt like it had that. If y'all seen the movie Superfly and the energy and the sound surrounding that movie, the beat initially before the switch had that feel to it. So I thought that was a dope connection. I felt the vibe of it served as almost like an interlude. It had like an interlude feel. Then we go to Reminisce, and this is one of my favorites from the album. I love the soulful instrumental from Hit Boy. He's sampling Mary J. You Remind Me. The balance that Nas alludes to in the track between reminiscing and being in the moment is reflected in how the beat evolves as the track goes on. Like, and then it culminates with it switching fully to a drill beat. And then what Nas does is just, brilliant. How he lays out the necessary balance that you gotta have between reflecting on the past and being present and moving forward even is just masterful. It shows his pen is as elite as ever.
First thing you heard, the beat was already telling you what the track was gonna be about. It had that throwback, reminiscent feel to the beat itself, and the beat switch, as you mentioned, to the drill on that last verse was dope. As much as it showed Nas being versatile and versatility, it also shown some versatility for Hit Boy as well, because I don't think I've ever heard Hit Boy do a drill beat before. So hearing that, I'm like, okay, so Hit Boy could do a drill beat, Nas could hop on a drill beat. Anything is possible at this point, right? Then we get into number 9, Serious Interlude. And I remember when we were doing the reaction, you pointed out something that was really dope. How you said that the interlude seemed as serious as, what do you say? It seemed as serious as what he was rapping. Was that what you said?
No, the song itself is an interlude for the album, but then what Nas is talking about on the track is about a serious interlude, whether it's he's an interlude for the female that he's talking about, or she's an interlude for him. Basically, he's saying that's not gonna last. Like it's a break. Love the background vocals. You mentioned Mario being on the album. Yeah. He's on this one.
My only fault of this song is that it wasn't long. It was just short. You mentioned Mario. Mario was dope doing the background vocals. Throughout the song, he was adding his vocals here and there, which is dope. I love the melodies that he was doing and the harmonization that he was doing as well on that track.
From serious interlude to I'm on fire, and this one grew on me so much. It's crazy. The production is perfect. It sounds like it's from a different time period, but then it doesn't sound dated whatsoever. You mentioned the last one being a little bit too short. I'd love one more verse. It's Nas just basically saying he's still him. Like he's still him, and he always will be.
The track is called I'm on Fire, and it was really self-explanatory. The man's on a roll. I love the vocal sample and how it was used in the chorus and throughout moments in the track. And then we go from I'm on Fire to WTF, SMH. This one felt like he was just denouncing violence, denouncing more specifically black on black crime. And one of the lines that stuck to me said, "God bless the trap, but I want to see you untrapped." He also talks about Shorty that says, she's the main. She has a main now. She has a king now. And then he follows it up by saying, she'll be back. It's just a phase. She'll be back.
What he says before that line, still referring to her, is crazy. He goes, she says she in a different astral plane now. Because she has, that was crazy.
Yeah.
She in a different astral plane. She said she had an out-of-body experience. How
every time she's with him. And the beat switch. Love the beat switch on this one. The loop was like a soft sample. So the spotlight was more focused on the lyrics.
Yeah, at this point, I'm thinking, Hit Boy, relax. Like, chill out, bro. The switches are wild. I love the second beat. I love the second beat so much. Nas floats on both of them, just showing how dope he is as an MC. Like, the ending of the song is so different from how it started, but then the title still works for both sides, and the switch didn't feel abrupt at all. Like, everything just flowed seamlessly. This is a really well done track. Concept and everything is dope. Once a Man, Twice a Child. This one, special. It's such a good song. The saxophone that comes in at the end, let me just get this out the way. That sax that comes in at the end is so fire. I love it.
Bro, you love the sax for real.
Bro,
you mentioned that every time you hear a sax, you're like, is that a sax?
It's a brilliant instrument. It's a brilliant instrument. And when it's utilized properly, like you can't go wrong. So I love that they brought that in. I love the bass line all the way throughout. It's Nas in an element that suits him so well. Like he's storytelling, he's reflective, he's introspective. He's talking about how one should approach and view growing old, like the circle of life. The second verse of this song should be studied. Seriously, it's that good. Just a dope track all the way around. It's one of my favorites on the project. Love it.
There were a couple tracks on this album that reminded me of J. Cole, and this was one of them. This was the main one. The other one was Thun. The approach of Nas, the specific words that he was using to show him going from a child to an adult. And I love the approach. I love the concept. I love the delivery of the entire track, bro. One of my favorites as well, bro. From Once a Man, Twice a Child, we go into Get Light. This song had me feeling like I was listening to a classic album. Him reminiscing about his younger days in this one as well, with the different feel.
Yeah, it's another one that grew on me a lot. I love the jazzy feel and the breaks, the different breaks in the beat. I remember at this point in the reaction is when I stopped it and I said, I didn't even stop it for any particular thing that happened. I just stopped it to say Hit Boy's a genius. It's not just how much they work together, it's how Hit Boy just knows what to do to complement Nas's style. And not just complement it, but also enhance it. I love the Biggie interpolation at the end, party and bullshit. That was dope. That was a dope touch as well.
Yeah. Number 14, right after Get Light, we go into First Time.
Yeah, this one was fire. I love when rappers make music about rap, make music about hip hop, that show their love for it. It really brings you back to the pure art form. Like you get away from all the the numbers part and the business side of it, and you go back to the art form in its purest sense. And this is what this song did for me. The instrumental has like an innocent feel to it, and it's appropriate because the subject matter of the song is innocent in a way. It's like your first time getting put onto an artist. Like there's an innocence to that, and the beat reflects that so well. I love that he mentioned not just people getting put onto his music, but him getting put onto other people's music as well, and how he felt.
I felt like the first verse was basically for his fans or his frequent listeners, you know, the people that check for him, check for his music drops, and asking, yo, when was the first time you heard me? Nas being as great as he is, talking about being under pressure while making these records, and some of these records are considered classics. It basically told me that you have no idea what someone's going through in order to give you the best. And sometimes while you're listening to the best, you might be going through something as well. And then he goes to the second verse where he's more speaking about now the new listeners. Dope track is as you said, bro, one of my favorites as well. And then we go from first time right into beef. And beef is a special one. Beef, the whole personification that he takes. I love when rappers do that. I love when artists do that, my bad. When artists, I think Nas has done it a few times. I remember Kanye doing it. The most recent one, I think, was Lupe that I heard with Precious Things, where he's personifying, I think, his hands. Mm-hmm. The timing on this one feels a little bit relevant, you know what I mean, to what's happening lately in the culture when we talk about beef.
Personifying beef and giving the details on it is one thing, but then he goes so deep with it. He gives the background of it, the causes of it, the consequences of it, beef in different scenarios and environments. How deep the levels he goes to get the message across is just amazing for real. Again, we see Nas and Hit Boy on the same page with every line, because the beat is tense and like almost eerie in a way, and then the subject matter is as well. Not everyone can make tracks like this. Like, this is, you got to be very skilled. Elite writing. You
mentioned flow of the album. Right after beef comes Don't Shoot. Yeah, which I feel is a perfect follow-up to beef. The start of the verse is tough to me because rappers are known to not rock with cops, you know. And he's talking about being a friend of the police commissioner. He's talking about being linking up with the mayor as well, government officials. He's saying that he's willing to do that just to make the community a better place. And then the last verse, he clarifies that when he's talking about the police commissioner. He says, just so you know, I'm not friends with the commissioner, but I would go out my way. I would do something like that just to save lives.
How the beat changes is so dope as well. Like, it's not a beat switch because it's the same beat. It's just it's pitched slightly higher and it's slightly sped up. And it almost sounds like a whole different beat. I love the monologue at the end by Nas, just reiterating the King's Disease theme. You are your own cure for your King's Disease. You got to look inside to cure that. You got all the answers. And then he goes to these powerful lines. Imagine no man shot for the next 10 years, no man killed for the next 30 years. Just real powerful sentiments. And with this being really the last track in terms of the canon of the album, with the next one being a bonus, it really ties together the album in such a dope way.
Yeah, and the next bonus track, Til My Last Breath. This track is absolutely fire to me. From the instrumentals, beat switches, it just felt like, yo, he had to add it in. He had to add it in to give that authentic New York feel to it. The flow on that second verse, absolutely fire. One of the lines I wanted to point out that stuck to me, he said, we can't say anything without offending. So my mouth is in a jailhouse. And there's been a few times where I had to, like, you know, when you got to double think, you're like, damn, can I say this? I think it was just a dope final track.
It's clear why it's a bonus. It very clearly and obviously sits outside of the main narrative of the project. Like, the tone is very different. Even the beat is completely different from everything else Hit Boy did on here. Once you get past the fact that this is a bonus, then you can really appreciate Nas just really going in and really talking his shit for real. Overall thoughts on the album, definitely one of the albums of the year, easily. Nas sounds comfortable. I mean, Nas always sounds, throughout his career, he sounded comfortable on the mic. His pen is so elite that he'll find a comfort zone. But here, it seems like he doesn't have to find it. It's just there for him. Like, he could just do what he wants. And Hit Boy is the one that provides that. With the climate surrounding society and music right now, the themes and the subject matter on this album, it just felt so timely. Like, it's just a contrasting feel, and he even acknowledges it on the album.
Yeah, while giving you, you know, words of advice, while motivating you, he's telling you a story from back in his days. He's reminiscing about things that he's been through, the street life. He's reminiscing about his come up, how he got where he is right now. He's talking about his goals. He's talking about his land. He's talking about what is his investment. He's just trying to really motivate whoever wants to listen and take it in. You got to give Hit Boy his credit for what he did. You mentioned that he pretty much laid down the foundation, and Nas was just building on top of it. As of right now, this is the album of the year for me.
Top 3, what you got?
This was, as we said, for me at least, this was super hard for me. Thun I knew for sure. First Time is another one of is another top 3 of mine. I did not pick a third one because I'm choosing it right now. I can't go wrong either way. So Thun, First Time, Once a Man, Twice a Child, bumping it all the way through, back to back to back.
My top 3, it changed like 5 times, and I'm expecting it will change more after this. But as of right now, I got Reminisce, First Time, and Once a Man, Twice a Child as my top 3. I'm gonna bump the album later today. That might change.
Yeah,
and so we go to skips, and with saying all that, I had 0 skips on here.
Yeah, so we're just gonna skip.
Yeah, basically.
So I guess we go straight to the ratings.
Rating, yeah. Out of 100, what you gave it?
Out of 100, I originally had it at 95.
That's pretty high.
But I brought it down to 93, still high. 93. It was a really good album for me, bro.
I had it at 89.5 at one point, and then I think I heard like Once a Man, Twice a Child again, or one of these tracks again I heard, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna give it the 90. So the VibeVilla official rating is 91.5 for this Nas KD3. Very high rating for a well-deserved project. Bro, this is a trilogy from one of the greatest to ever do it, and it's not like some throwaway shit. Like, he's at his best. You brought up what 21 said. There's always a certain generation that decides what's hot, like in the moment for certain groups. I mean, irrelevant is a strong word, but in that way, I could kind of understand what he's saying. But 21, and this is not to like pick on 21 or anything, but 21 and other artists of that caliber that are hot right now can only hope to be this relevant when they reach this stage in their careers. Yeah. Like, bro, he's 30 years in.
15th album.
And he's still making music that really sets the tone.
Top tier.
Sets the tone. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I'm a Jay-Z guy. And I say that only in reference to the back and forth between Jay-Z, Nas. This 4-album run really has me like, yo, y'all thought. It really has me like, yo, they're leveled. Because I'm gonna keep it real. Before this 4-album run, when people would be like, yo, Nas is back, I'd be like, bro, are you crazy? Look at the discographies. Like, it wasn't close. Like, I thought Jay-Z was significantly ahead. Like, yeah. I thought so. This is unprecedented. Like, this is not normal. It's not like, even if he was just releasing albums every other year or every 2 and they were good, that would still be something crazy. But he's released a trilogy and squeezed some magic in there, bars. like in between. Like, I like that. It's wild what he's done.
So we know 2 of your top 3.
Yeah.
It was one. It was the.
We gonna save that. We got a video on that. But yeah, dope album. Yes, this was the review. Like we said, the reaction is available on Patreon if you missed that. If you want to check that out. Appreciate you watching. More soon. Peace.